Welcome everyone to LeapMeet 74 July 2022 TradeLog review and technical analysis. So let's take a look at July TradeLog. We were supposed to do it the other weekend, but as you know, quite a few personal events going on in mine and in Minaj's life. So we're doing it a little bit late, but we'll go over it very quickly. July was one of let's take a look at the chart first. So July is from here all the way to here. And as you can see, the first half of July pretty much started going up, coming back down, trying to go back up again. So now at this point, like we're at the middle of the July and pretty much nothing has happened. As you can see, no new highs, no new lows. It's been trading in range, and then probably like the last week of July, it tried to break out and then pulled back again towards the end. And then last couple of days, it ran up big, as you can see on July 27, 28, 29, it made new high and this new really good run on the upside. But the point I'm trying to make here is that for most part, it was a choppy month. There was no clear direction. So if you were to like say, we saw 2 or 3 green days and you're like, okay, confidence in taking calls, and you took calls with longer expiration. The next thing you know is that all became worthless by end of next week. The same thing, you were like, okay, I'm going to take puts on the break of the lows. And the next thing you know, it started bouncing up, and then it showed signs of failing here, pulled back, break below the 50-day SMA for a little bit, and show indication that it may pull back again. And that is a valid assumption because we are in a downtrend here. So overall, it was going lower. So was still a possibility. So it was a difficult month to trade, and every time when there is sort of like defiance in terms of like, okay, which direction market is going to go from here, or uncertainty, the trading becomes more and more difficult. And that's what happens with us for month of July as well. We started out really nicely, greens, but every single trade, as you can see, I was going through this trade log for me, and as you can see, I put some notes. But one of the things that I have noticed, and especially it goes along with this sort of ups and down moment, is that we took one too many trades. So, for example, on 0701, we pretty much exclusively traded Tesla, right? We took 5 trades, nailed 4 of them for a really nice profit, and one of them, which is pretty cheap, went to 0. Now, and this was an anomaly because we were playing puts, and I put a note there that we are taking a super small position because it can break higher, and like it did in the morning. But it continued to break lower. 670 puts work. So then when the week 2 came, we were confident that, okay, the Tesla was weak on the Friday. It's probably going to continue in that direction this week as well. But that did not happen. The whole market started to bounce, and we are right here, as you can see. July 1st, we are right here. So on June 30th, pretty much it was like a mediocre day. So it was like, okay, indication is that we can go lower, but no, that did not happen on July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Pretty much market held the levels and start to move up. So that went to 0. So that's why it's one too many trade. But then we recovered nicely from Microsoft, cost, Amazon. We nailed those trades. We were being very, very conservative, as you can see, like a lot of time, 15%, 0%, we sold at break even because it didn't make sense to hold it overnight. 4%, 10%, 20%. 13%, 15%. So we were taking whatever market was giving us, right? We were not holding on to it. Like, so for example, this Tesla trade is a great example. We entered at 285 and we got out at 330, 15%, 16% profit. Given how market was, we didn't want to hold it. But then Tesla ran up, and the last chunk of position we sold was for almost 488%. So that's the thing. Even though it was strong, we didn't held on and be like, okay, Tesla can go to 100% easily. No, we took whatever market gave us, and then sometimes you get lucky and it moves super fast, and you get out at 75% as your first exit. And sometimes it's 31%, and then sometimes it's 13%. You take whatever it gives you. Do not be greedy. But yeah, there was overall, because market didn't do much up or down, we tried to capture trades in both directions successfully. We did that successfully, and 2 losses, not too big of a deal. This 200 calls didn't pan out. Crowd was strong, but then it just came back down the next day very, very fast. Then come week 3, and we're right here. So week 3 is from 11 till 15th. So we're right here, 11th. So down, 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 and then on the last day we bounced back up. So most of the time market went down too early. We were playing calls and puts in Tesla, and as you can see, it was a red day, but not that big of a red day. So it was a little bit too early to buy this 800 calls in Tesla. And that's why it's a flip direction for trades too early. Should have, after the 650 puts that we successfully traded for 20%, buying 800 calls in the other direction against the trade was not a wise decision. We flipped the direction too early. Should have waited a little bit longer, let it fall a little bit more, and then it could have probably worked out. So that was that, but then we continued to do it. AMD was an okay trade. We tried, it didn't work. Another Google trade, and that is also one too many, because as you can see, we played 2150 put and then 2130 put, both traded successfully for almost 50%. And then we tried one more time for 2130 puts when it bounced back a little. That was one too many. Should have stopped after 2 successful trades and let it figure out the direction and levels after that. So that we don't fall into that trap. But that did not happen, and we paid the price, and almost $700. And then comes Friday when we bounced really nicely, and again, one too many trades. We successfully traded Microsoft 260. Microsoft 260 twice, one for 30% highest and second one for 233% highest. So taking this third one again for the same price was reaching out too far. It was way too risky, should have stopped. Again, one too many trades. So that is the pattern this month. Like, we find the direction and then we continue to trade it until it fails. I mean, it's not a bad thing to do, because you never know. Like I said, what's down can go, what's low can go lower, and what's high can go higher. But the point is that, at least on paper, right? When I look at this, I'm thinking to myself, because here I don't know, and when you were looking at it, you don't know how many trades, how many contracts I took, right? So I could have taken 10 the first time, 7 or 6 the second time, and probably 3 the third time, because every single time you try it, it becomes more and more likely that it's going to fail, right? You all know that. So the third time, but the point is the third time was still one too many. And this is for my benefit, but as well as it's for your benefit as well. When you're trading and you have one or two good trades in one direction for one name, please be understanding that it's becoming more and more risky every time you try it. So give it a pause, give it a day or two, and then revisit again. That would be the smart thing to do rather than pushing your luck. And like I said before, there's nothing wrong in doing that. If you made good money before that, lower your size, risk some of your profit, and then you can try it again and see if it works. If it doesn't, have your stop losses in place, and then it's fine. The mistake here is that there was no stop losses in place, right? For here, or up here, there was no. So this is like a big loss of $600 and then $700, and here we had like at 400, like $164. So the 100% losses is what will cause your account to deplete very, very fast. Week 4, another good week, as you can see, from 18th to 22nd. And that was the week where we finally tried to bounce higher. So as you can see, 18th, red day, but not too bad, I guess. And then 19th, 20th, 21st, and then 22nd, it filled and pulled back. So 3 green days in a row. We had some good trades in both directions. As you can see, in the morning, early morning, we took Amazon and Google for puts and then flipped the switch in Tesla to take the call successfully. And then Microsoft as well puts for the first day, and then we flipped the switch the next day, started taking calls, and again, flip direction too soon. Amazon 116C, we took it, we worked for 105%, and right away we bought 116p against the trade, which is not a smart thing to do, right? So again, another big loss because of that. The shop, again, everything was going higher, so we took shop with like 20-cent small position, which didn't work out. Traded against the trade. Everything was moving up. There was no reason for us to take puts trade, but we tried our luck because how choppy the market has been. But this time that did not work. And then Thursday, Google puts and Tesla, Costco calls, all worked out nicely. And then Friday, these 2 trades were like came in a little bit too late in the day. Should have stopped at one probably and not taken both of them, but it's a lot of calls. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, not a big deal. And then so that was the week 4. We got 4 losing trades, and we know why. And week 5 is right here, the last week where we saw a huge run up on the upside. We try to capture as much as we can. Some mistake happened again with the Tesla 780p. Should have left it alone. Microsoft, another puts that did not work. And then the last day on Friday, this qualify as pretty much won too many times, but it's part of the game. We followed the stop losses and got out, and that's okay. It worked. All in all, decent month. Very, very hard to trade. So if you struggle this month, just learn from it. What we are learning from this month is that we need to eliminate this one too many trades and flipping direction too early. And you will see why we need to start doing that. But if we just eliminate this one too many trade and control how many times we trade same position again and again and again, we may be able to limit those big losses, or at least have a stop loss in place. All in all, we took about 79 trades this month, 65 wins, 14 losses. 82% win rate, 17% losses, and we had 800% plus win. So decent month. Like I said, it was not easy to trade into this month, but we are learning from it and we are improving from it. And so far in August, it has been great. So we will continue that strike. And now let's move on to technical analysis portion of it. So July ended, and here we are, August. Pretty much, if you remember Lipcast, I said this 100 day SMA could provide a strong resistance or could act as a strong support as well. And this uptrend is still intact. So as long as this uptrend is still intact, it can start to bounce up again. And we could see a run up. But if you remember the Lipcast, I mentioned that this is the range where it failed last time, as you can see, and how it dropped pretty much the entire range that it took about since bottoming out in June up until about a month and a half it took to recover back to this level. It fell, it lost all that gain in pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. A month and a half to recover, 6 days to fall, stairs up and elevator down. This has happened before. Now, it may not be the same this time. So this time it could break out higher and continue to move on the upside towards 200-day SMA. The point I'm trying to make here is that we are in a critical stage right now. And one of the two things going to happen. It's going to break below this one of 407, I would say, 407 level, which has been providing support the previous time it was in this range. And once it broke, there was no stopping it. And this time there is a trend line as well. So if it breaks 407 and this trend line convincingly, then 393 would be the next 400, could provide a little bit of support, but the 50-day SMA is at 393, and that's where it may stop. And the fear of another big pullback will start to gain traction. So watch this trend line and this levels very, very closely. SPY has to stay over 407 no matter what. If now, let's say, if it continues to consolidate for another week in this range, meaning that will also break this trend line, but it did not break below this level. So that it will pretty much invalidate this trend line and it will start to consolidate in this sideways manner. And then we'll discuss about that. But let's see what happens on this coming week. If it managed to get over 418.50, then this coast is clear for it to next move to 423, 425, and then 428, and then 200-day SMA at 432. Possible. Of course, possible. We have seen it move that kind of range, but it needs to break out of this range. As long as it stays in this range, be very, very careful and realize that it can go against you very, very quickly, up or down. So please, please, please watch this level very closely. It is approaching, the RSI is approaching near the top. So I would be very careful. QQQ has better chart than SPY. As you can see, QQQ already broke out of this range and continued to move higher. It sits comfortably above 100-day SMA now. We officially have direction change, as you can see, and this is the secondary trend that it's building. This was the primary, this is the secondary now. And 50-day SMA is crawling back up, 100-day SMA is flattening out, 200-day is still lower, but that will change with time. But this downtrend has been broken. But if you look at the bigger picture, then this downtrend right here, there we go. Downtrend right here on the longer time frame will present strong resistance for QQQ around 328 to 330 range. So watch that. That's where it failed last time and started another wave of downtrend, which could happen this time around as well. So we are QQQ, although it may not seem, is also in a critical or approaching very critical trend line levels, but 100-day SMA could provide strong support. So watch those. So on the upside, what you want to watch is 325 first and foremost, and then 328, 329, and then 335 are the level. If we manage to get to 335, that's where small resistance will come from, but not as strong. It could really push higher and go for the 200-day SMA. So QQQ seems to be in better position here. And all that is thanks to names like Amazon and Google and all this big tech. Amazon has recovered, and how earnings gap, it made this gap and it continues to move higher. What a name. Now this level at 135 should provide strong support for it. Below that, the support will be at 132. I personally would not bet against the Amazon until we break below this level. So if we break below 132, then possibly maybe below 135 is still possible to play on the downside. But if we break below this, then the gap fill is possible towards 130. So I would keep that eye on it, but it's showing good strength. On the upside, you want to watch 145. That is where the 200-day SMA is. If it breaks above that, then it's going to go higher for sure. 50-day SMA is finally turning back around. 100-day SMA is flattening out. RSI is higher though, very high, like close to 70. So be careful. It could see some consolidation and pull back towards 135 to 132 area before continues to move on the upside. So just be careful with it. I would personally not bet against it and focus more on calls rather than puts. Depending on how the market is, but Amazon is officially in the upside direction as of right now. Let's take a look at Google. If you notice the Lipcast, I was talking about the range in Google, and it is still in the range, as you can see. We're just going to extend this box a little bit. So it is in the range, but 50-day SMA is curling back up. It is facing strong resistance from 100-day SMA and the previous resistance level at 119. It needs to move over 120 to be comfortably, and at 120 and then 120. Yeah, if it goes over 120, then it will be comfortably outside this range over the box and can start to climb back on the upside. It will have reclaimed 100-day SMA as well. So it can start to bounce towards the 200-day SMA. But as of right now, it's still in the range. So be careful trading it. As we have seen before, it likes to trade in the range and then break in one or the other direction. Shop, I was avoiding it, but as you guys know, it is starting to break out of this range, trying to pick higher. And as you can see here, also 100-day SMA for sharp is right at 44. So if it can push over that, then it continues to move higher towards 48, and then 51 would be the next level to watch on the upside. So let's draw some levels. 42.75 is the next resistance where it failed previous 2 days twice. Break over that, 200-day SMA sits right at 44.35. Over that, we'll have this level to watch, 48.50, and then 51.32. And this one right here at 57. Not saying it's going to go all the way over there in next week or so, but these are the level to watch on the downside. On the upside, if it falls below 40, then it can go back to 35 on the downside towards 50-day SMA, given how market is. It all depends. Apple, another super strong name. This steep trend is still continues, is officially out of the this trend line right here, the downtrend, and that was here, this one. It is officially a change of direction, and it comfortably sits over 200-day SMA. It's the first tech name to reclaim 200-day SMA. 100-day SMA is also starting to curl back up. 50-day SMA is curling back up. 100-day SMA is curling back up. Super strong name. I will try to look for more positions in this name, as I should have. But yeah, amazing strength. Watch this level on the upside at 167.50. If it managed to get high over that, then 170 can come next. On the downside, this 200-day SMA at 150, let's just say 160 should provide very strong support. So I would watch for that. 163 is immediate support on the downside. So keep an eye on it. This is another name that where I would not buy puts in. So be very careful. Netflix officially starting to bounce up, and it's bouncing against the ceiling at 230. If it manages to get over 230, then it can go to 237 very quickly. 50-day SMA is finally out of, after this entire year it's been going down, it's finally curling back up. 250-day, 200 and 100-day SMA is still down, but there is some momentum on the upside. So we'll see how that works. Meta, it's still downside, still in the low, so I wouldn't be worried about it as much. Nvidia is still in an uptrend. 50-day SMA is scrolling back up. 100-day SMA is coming down, providing strong resistance at right here, 194. So watch that level going into next week. If Nvidia get out of this 194 level, then it can quickly go towards 200 easily, and that's where it will face next resistance at 200 and then at 203.67. But at that point, it will be comfortably above 100-day SMA. 200-day SMA is flattening out. 50-day SMA is scrolling back up. So all in all, it's looking decent. The retail trader activity is low. So that's another point to keep in mind. It's usually, as you can see, it usually picks up around earnings right here, and then if there are some positive news or something like that, but usually around earning it picks up. So keep an eye on that. It is still in this uptrend, but it is slowing down, range bound, as you can see here, where it slowed down, or where it slowed down. So 203 is the next big level over 200-day SMA. Snap, ignore for now. Crowd, one of our favorite, is still over 200-day SMA. It tried to break over the 50-day, 200. It is still over 100-day SMA. It tried to break over the 200-day SMA, but it failed. Pulled back towards 100-day SMA again, bounced again on Friday. So if it manages to get over this 200 level or 200-day SMA, I would expect a big bounce towards at least towards 205 and then 213. If it fails to hold this 185 and then 182 level, then I would expect a pullback towards 175. So be careful. Depending on how market is doing, we will decide. Crowd has been very, very choppy, as you can see, up, down, up, down, up, down, very temperamental. If you nail it, good gains can come, but you can lose just as fast. So if you do decide to trade crowd, keep your position size in check. Roku, after that enormous pullback on or sell-off on earnings, it's bouncing up and trying to recapture 50-day SMA. That's all there is to it. Excuse me. All right, Tesla. Steep trend line, bounced off of it, tried to break this 945 level up here, failed, and pulled back tremendously on Friday back to the trend line, as you can see. Now, what we need to see is if it breaks below this trend line on Monday or trust start to bounce again towards to 900. Important level 890 and 900 and this 910 right here, which is where 200-day SMA is. If it breaks below 855, then I would expect it to go towards 830 next, break below that. Then we can see it pull back all the way towards 800. It is possible. Break below 800, 780, 770 can also come. So be very careful with Tesla. It's very, very, very temperamental, but also very volatile. And as you can see, this is the great example of RSI. It reaches almost 74, and then in one day it dropped back down to 60 because a lot of people dumped that. There were more sellers than buyer, and that's why RSI is coming back down. Last time this happened was April 4th, and Tesla was at 1153, and then it pulled back almost to that level, and then pull back more, and then pull back more, and then pull back more. I'm not saying something like that going to happen this time, but every time we are in overbought category, you can be certain that the sell-off could come. And this applies to any name, not just Tesla. Microsoft, another one of our favorite name to trade, is sitting comfortably over 100-day SMA. It pretty much traded sideways, as you can see, for last week. Failed multiple times at this 283 level, as you can see. So I'm going to move the resistance now at that one, because that is the main resistance at 283. If it manages to break over that, then it can push higher towards 289. If it fails there, 276, 100-day SMA, and then 270 next on the downside. Break below that, 263 can come as well. So keep watching these levels. It is sandwiched between all the SMAs, so anything can happen here. But as long as it's whole 100-day SMA, I would be bullish on it. That's it for me. Costco, another name, strong uptrend. Just watch it. I wouldn't bet against it. Only play calls on the down days. Hold on to it. Very good name for swing play. So we'll see if we can find some swing trades into it. But yeah, that's about it. Those are the only names I wanted to try. CMG is still pushing higher. 1600 over, it can move towards 1614, 1650 right here, where it found resistance multiple times before. As you can see, it failed 1, 2, 3, and 4 times, and once it moved higher than that, it went to 1646 to watch those levels on the upside. CMG is another name where I would not play any puts. It is sitting over 200-day SMA now, so very, very strong showing from it. So just keep an eye on it for a move on the upside if market continues to move higher. Those are the names I wanted to talk about. If you guys have any questions or any names you want me to look at it, feel free to post it in the room. Another thing that we need to discuss is some of the suggestions that came through support and feedback channel. One of the suggestions was that live trading discussion channel should be made read only. One of the reasons we don't want to do that is because we encourage healthy, active discussion around stocks and names and what is going on. Although we appreciate people contributing, please try and be more respectful towards another. And if you want to have any off-topic discussion, use the Trooper Stock channel for images, GIFs, all that stuff. Please use Trooper Stock channel. That's why it's there, and that is the main purpose of it. So please use that one, and rather than posting it into the live trading channel, and keep that one for a discussion around trades, because people are not constantly online and they want to come back and change. But for now, it will remain for the discussion. If anything, maybe we'll discuss this during the market hours on Monday, but maybe we can start posting more commentary and stock or position related notifications in the live trading options channel, unless you guys prefer it to be strictly for alerts. But we can have a discussion around that. But for that one point, for now at least, we will keep it open for everybody. Morning watch and morning trading posts can be included in the watch list and trade ideas channel, and other news can be moved to Trooper's news channel. So for that, we decided to we felt like it was a good suggestion, so we decided to create a new channel for it. We're going to call it Events and Earnings, and that is where you will find morning watch, morning trading, events, analysis, ratings, earnings related topics, earnings related news, anticipation, everything will be in that channel. Morning watch morning watch, we already have the specific watch list for that, but we can still post it in the events channel and treat it as a daily event. And number 3, would love to see swing into options trade, and trust me, I would love to take swing trade position as well. But one of the things about swing trade, taking swing trade position in option, is that you have to be very careful and very mindful. Market is irrational right now, as you can see. There is no clear direction. Let's take a look at the SPY chart for that matter. We were talking about it earlier, right? It looks like it's going to break out and it just goes down. And then it takes about a month and a half to recover. Sometimes it recovers from the lows and go back to that within days. Sometimes it consolidates for almost a month, right? So the reason we haven't been taking any swing position, those of you who were with us like from earlier, we used to take 2-3 weeks out calls because we were in a strong bull market. So there was a possibility that the market, like that, we can predict the market more comfortably where odds are in our favor. We don't want to take swing trades just for the sake of it and be like, okay, it's so down right now, after a month or two, it has to come back up. or it's so high right now, in a week or two, it has to come back down. Market doesn't have to do anything, right? But we can still take calculated risk, like, okay, market is in a strong bull trend. It has pulled back about 10%. It may be a good position to take entry here, the trend level or trade line or whatever that may be, right? But lately, it hasn't been respecting that at all. It is moving all over the place. It is moving fast and furious. The range is super, super high. So if you get lucky, you can make a lot of money. But if you can see this range, it's obnoxious. Like compared to before, it's nothing like that. Like daily range is like insane. So what we want to do is we want market to be calm down a little bit, basically, and stabilize a little bit more. We want the world events to stabilize a little bit more. The recession, this, that, all that stuff. Like we don't know what market is going to do 2 or 3 months from now. If you are in a strong bull market like this, right? So when market pulls back to like say this 80%, and you know it's been strong, then you can take a calculated risk here. Or here when it pulls back, have a bad 1 or 2 bad days, or pull back here towards 50 days. I mean, at that point, you can take a little bit of risk and take a calculated bet because market is a strong uptrend and you have a very, very clear direction. Right now, that is not the case. We discussed about it, right? We are in no man's land right now. Here, it can break out and go super high or break out and make new lows. So it's a lot of instability, uncertainty, along with the no clear direction makes me hesitant to take swing trade. But as the time goes on, this will calm down a little bit. We'll have a clear direction about the market that, okay, every sell-off is being bought and all that sort of stuff. Then we'll start taking swing trades. So just be patient with the market. You don't want to take unnecessary risks. That's why we are keeping it like we are advising against holding anything overnight, let alone take swing trades, right? You don't want to hold any position overnight. So this is not the market where you want to do that. But there will be a market, and when the time is right, we will start doing that as well. So just sit tight. And that's it from our side. If you guys don't have any questions, we will go ahead and end the webinar here. Thank you again for joining Trader's webinar on this fine Sunday and giving us your time. We really appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you tomorrow during market hours. Have a good day, everyone.